It's a kind of NFL drama you can't script. The rookie quarterback, who was supposed to be the future of the Cleveland Browns, is now asking to leave before his story in Cleveland has even really begun. Shedeur Sanders' preseason debut wasn't just good. It wasn't just promising. It was electric. From the moment he took the field, the rookie played with a command and confidence you rarely see in a fifth-round pick. He made throws most veterans hesitate on. He read defenses like he'd been in the league for years.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
He had it, that rare combination of talent, poise, and presence that makes teammates rally and fans fall in love. But instead of building on that momentum, instead of putting the ball in his hands with the first-team offense and seeing how far this thing could go, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski seemed to slam the brakes. The first red flag came after that debut. Instead of praising Sanders for exceeding expectations, Stefanski's post-game comments were clinical, almost cold. He didn't gush. He didn't talk about potential. He talked about areas to improve. And sure, every player has areas to improve, but when a rookie lights up the field in his first real taste of NFL action, you'd expect a little more celebration from a head coach. For fans, it was a gut punch. For Sanders, it was a first sign that maybe this wasn't going to be the fair fight he thought he'd walked into. Over the next few weeks, the pattern got clearer. Sanders stayed buried in the depth chart. His reps came with third and fourth-string players, guys fighting for practice squad jobs, not starting roles. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel, who'd been shaky all camp, continued to get the lion's share of first-team snaps. It was déjà vu for a franchise that's made a bad habit of picking their guy before camp even starts and riding with him no matter what happens on the field. But this time, the situation felt personal. Whispers started making their way out of Berea. Analysts like Shannon Sharpe and others hinted that Stefanski might not see Sanders as his quarterback. After all, Shedeur wasn't Stefanski's pick. Word around the league is that owner Jimmy Haslam had a heavy hand in drafting him. And if you know NFL politics, you know how that can go. Coaches like to win with their guys. When the front office drops a player in their lap, some coaches embrace it. Others, not so much. Whether that's the case here or not, the optics are ugly. Stefanski's public tone about Sanders has been tepid at best, even as the rookie continues to impress with limited opportunities. Every glowing report from a teammate, every viral practice throw, every moment of quiet leadership from Sanders seems to be met with the same flat response. He's improving. Fans aren't buying it anymore. And now, the bombshell. Shedeur Sanders has reportedly asked to be placed on the trade list. This isn't some anonymous source whispering in the dark. Multiple insiders are saying Sanders has had enough of waiting for an opportunity that clearly isn't coming in Cleveland. He wants out. He wants a chance to prove himself somewhere that actually wants him. And just like that, the Browns have gone from maybe having their quarterback of the future to maybe losing him entirely before his rookie season even kicks into gear. Let's pause for a second and think about what that means. Sanders isn't asking for guaranteed starter status. He's not asking for special treatment. He's asking for a fair shot to compete on level ground with the other quarterbacks in the room. But when you've been kept on the sidelines while a less consistent player gets first-team reps, it's hard not to see the writing on the wall. Some insiders are already floating the Los Angeles Rams as a potential landing spot. And honestly, it makes too much sense. The Rams know a thing or two about maximizing talent quickly. They've got an aging starter in Matthew Stafford, a creative offensive mind in Sean McVay, and a city that loves a star with swagger. Sanders would fit there like he was built for it. But for Cleveland, the thought of letting him walk is almost unthinkable. This is a franchise that's been desperate for stability at quarterback for decades. They finally draft a kid with the talent, the poise, the charisma to change the entire narrative. And they might just give him away because of internal politics. It's not just fans who are frustrated. Former players and analysts have been lighting up the airwaves. Some are calling this a clear case of ego over football. Others are questioning whether the Browns' decision-makers are even on the same page about the future of the team. When you've got an owner, a GM, and a head coach possibly pulling in 3 different directions, it's a recipe for disaster. And here's the kicker. Sanders' preseason performance didn't just get Browns fans talking. It got the entire league talking. Scouts from other teams have taken notice. They've seen how quickly he processes the game, how unflappable he is under pressure, how easily he commands a huddle. That's why, if Cleveland does put him on the trade block, the line of suitors will be long. The Rams might be the headliner, but don't sleep on other QB-needy teams making aggressive offers. This is where the Browns have to ask themselves the hard question. Are they really willing to let this guy go? If they keep him and keep treating him like a backup's backup, they're risking a fractured locker room and an alienated fan base. If they trade him, they're risking handing another team the quarterback they've been searching for since, well, forever. Either way, it's a lose-lose unless something changes, and fast. The most baffling part is how avoidable all of this was. If Stefanski had just opened up the competition after Sanders' debut, given him real snaps with the starters, and let the chips fall where they may, the narrative would be completely different. If Gabriel still won the job fair and square, fine, at least everyone would know it was earned. But now, even if Gabriel plays well, there will always be an asterisk in fans' minds. The tension has hit a boiling point. Social media is a war zone of Browns fans calling for Stefanski's head, calling for Sanders to be freed, and calling for the front office to wake up before it's too late. If you don't want him, trade him to a team that does, one fan wrote in a now viral post. We've seen this movie before, and it ends with us watching our guy win a ring somewhere else. And they're not wrong. This league has a long history of teams mishandling young quarterbacks, only to watch them flourish somewhere else. The Browns, more than anyone, should know that pain. Do they really want to go through it again? Sanders' trade request isn't just a player looking out for himself. It's a statement. It says, I believe in my talent. I believe I can win. And if you won't give me the chance here, I'll find somewhere that will. That's not ego. That's survival. The Browns now stand at a crossroads. They can dig in, refuse the trade, and hope this storm passes. But if they do that without giving Sanders the reps he's earned, they'll only make the situation worse. Or they can admit the obvious. The relationship between Sanders and this coaching staff might already be beyond repair. If they choose the second option, they need to be prepared for the fallout. Because once Sanders is gone, every great game he plays in another uniform will be a reminder of what they let slip away. Every playoff win, every Pro Bowl nod, every moment of brilliance will be a fresh wound for a franchise that has bled enough. Right now, the clock is ticking. Sanders has made his move. The fans have made their stance clear. The NFL is watching. And somewhere in Los Angeles, Sean McVay is probably grinning, knowing that if Cleveland really is foolish enough to let Shedeur Sanders go, there's a spot waiting for him in a city built for stars. The Browns? They'll have to decide if they're ready to live with that decision for the next decade. Here's the thing about Cleveland. It's not just another NFL city. This isn't some fair-weather football town where the fans shrug off another bad season and move on. No, Cleveland lives for this team. The Browns aren't just Sunday entertainment here. They're identity. And when that identity feels disrespected, when it feels like the organization is once again fumbling away hope, the reaction is nuclear. That's exactly what's brewing right now. Shedeur Sanders wasn't supposed to be a controversy. He was supposed to be the quiet steal of the draft, the 5th-round pick with first-round swagger who'd learn behind the scenes for a year, get a little seasoning, then step in when the timing was right. But the second he stepped onto that preseason field, all those slow-burn plans went up in smoke. You could see it immediately. The way he commanded the huddle, the way he scanned the defense, the way the ball came out of his hand with purpose. Even the sound of the throw was different, that sharp pop of a perfectly spun pass hitting the receiver in stride. You can't fake that. You can't coach that. And fans knew they were watching something special. The problem? Kevin Stefanski didn't seem to see it, or at least he pretended not to. Every question about Sanders in those first few weeks was met with the same coach speak. He's learning. We're evaluating. It's a process. But behind those canned answers was the unspoken truth. This wasn't a quarterback competition. It never was. Dillon Gabriel was the starter. Period. It didn't matter that Gabriel was spraying throws all over the field in camp. It didn't matter that his red zone reads looked like they were coming straight from a Madden rookie AI. It didn't matter that, statistically, Sanders was outperforming him even with practice squad-level talent around him. The job was Gabriel's because it was always going to be Gabriel's. That's where this whole thing crossed from frustrating into toxic. Fans aren't stupid. They've seen this movie too many times. The Browns pick their guy early, stick with him no matter what, and end up wondering why they're 4-13 again. So when a rookie shows he might actually be the guy, but the staff refuses to even give him a real chance, it stops being about football. It starts feeling like a betrayal. And that's how you get to where we are now, with fans flooding social media, radio call-in lines, and even open training camp sessions with one demand: trade Shedeur Sanders before you ruin him. You can feel the desperation in it. They're not asking for a quarterback switch anymore. They're asking for an escape plan. If the Browns won't give him the job, fine. Let him go somewhere that will. Let him go to a team that won't bury him under development, excuses while propping up a starter who can't move the chains. And Sanders? He's not exactly fighting the idea. By all accounts, the trade request was real. Not some media rumor. Not some agent leverage play. He went to the organization and basically said, "If you're not going to let me compete for this job, then put me somewhere I can." That's a bold move for a rookie, but it's also a calculated one. Sanders knows his stock has never been higher. Every scout in the league saw that debut. Every coach who needs a quarterback has at least made a mental note. If he's going to make a move, now's the time. The Rams make the most sense, sure, but there are other suitors. Quarterback depth is thin league-wide, and every GM thinks they're one right fit away from getting their guy. But here's the real pressure point for Cleveland. The second Sanders walks out that door, they lose control of the narrative. Right now, they can still hide behind team development plan talk. But if he goes to another team and lights it up, if he turns into exactly what the fans think he is, then the Browns aren't just the team that mishandled another quarterback. They're the team that gave him away. That's a stain you don't wash off. Think about how that plays in the locker room. Players talk, and nothing kills morale faster than the belief that performance doesn't matter. If the guy everyone knows is balling out can't get on the field, what does that say to the rest of them? That no matter how hard they work, decisions are already made? That politics trumps production? That's when cracks turn into fractures. And right now, the Browns can't afford fractures. The crazy part is, this could have been avoided so easily. All Stefanski had to do was open the door a little, give Sanders a handful of reps with the starters, see how he looked, and make an actual competition. Even if Gabriel kept the job, at least fans and players would believe it was earned. But by locking the depth chart before Sanders ever had a fair shot, they've created a controversy that's now threatening to explode into a full-blown mutiny. The city's relationship with the team is fragile, to put it nicely. Yes, Cleveland loves the Browns, but it's a love built on decades of frustration and heartbreak. It's the kind of love that makes fans quick to anger when they feel history repeating itself. And right now, that's exactly what this feels like, another young QB with potential being smothered under the weight of bad decision-making. What makes Sanders different, though, is that he's not content to wait 3 years for a maybe. He's not going to quietly sit in the corner and hope the coaches change their mind. He's 22. He's got the swagger of someone who's been told his whole life he's built for the big stage, and he's got the receipts to prove he belongs. If Cleveland won't give him that stage, someone else will. So now the Browns are in an impossible spot. If they refuse the trade and keep him buried, they look stubborn and petty. If they trade him, they risk watching him turn into the face of another franchise while they're still searching for the answer. And that's why this isn't just another NFL drama. It's a pivotal moment for the identity of the Cleveland Browns. Do they double down on their way of doing things, even when it's clearly not working? Or do they swallow their pride, admit they might have underestimated their rookie, and do what's best for the team? Even if it means upsetting the hierarchy, fans have made it clear what they want. They'd rather see Sanders succeed somewhere than rot on the bench in Cleveland. It's not that they want to give up on the Browns. It's that they don't trust the Browns not to give up on him. And if the front office thinks this noise will quiet down, they're wrong. The chants will get louder. The calls to sports radio will get angrier. The boos will come quicker when Gabriel misses open throws. This city can smell a quarterback controversy a mile away, and once they lock onto it, they don't let go. Right now, the Browns still have a choice. They can mend this before it becomes irreparable. They can give Sanders the reps he's earned, prove they're not afraid to make the tough call, and show the locker room that merit still matters here. Or they can hold the line, cling to the plan, and watch the pressure cooker they built explode. If they choose the latter, well, don't be surprised if you see Shedeur Sanders in another uniform sooner than you think. And if that happens, don't be surprised when Cleveland spends the next decade wondering how they let the one that got away walk right out their door. You can feel it. The tension isn't just inside the locker room anymore. It's spilling out into the streets, into bars, into living rooms across Cleveland. On every sports talk station, the debate has the same starting point. Why is Shedeur Sanders not starting? And the answers? They get uglier by the day. Some fans call it stubbornness. Some call it politics. And the ones who've truly had enough? They're calling it sabotage. That's how deep this has gone. People aren't just frustrated. They're convinced the Browns are deliberately keeping their most exciting rookie in years from touching the field. You can't really blame them for thinking that way. Think about the facts. The kid walks into his first preseason game and drops a performance so polished it felt like it belonged on a primetime Sunday, not a meaningless August warm-up. He's throwing lasers. He's moving defenders with his eyes. He's commanding the huddle like he's been here for years. The crowd? Electric. The sideline? Locked in. Then nothing. Instead of riding that wave, Kevin Stefanski tucks Sanders right back into the shadows. More third-team reps, more drills with guys who won't even make the practice squad. More press conferences filled with phrases like still developing and needs more time. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel is out there taking first-team snaps and putting up the kind of training camp stats you'd expect from a guy who's still figuring out where the hash marks are. And in Cleveland, a city that has seen this movie too many times, you don't just get the benefit of the doubt. You've got to earn it. That's why the fans have turned. They're not just asking for a change, they're demanding one. Or, if the Browns aren't willing to pull that trigger, they're demanding Sanders be traded to a team that will use him. You know what that means? They're basically telling the Browns, we trust Shedeur more than we trust you. That's a dangerous place for an organization to be. Because here's the dirty little secret about NFL locker rooms. Players pay attention to who's getting opportunities and why. They know when a guy is being iced out for non-football reasons. They know when a teammate is balling out in practice and still can't get on the field. And once they believe performance doesn't matter, it's not just the quarterback who stops believing in the system. It's everyone. You've got veterans who've been grinding for years looking at this situation and thinking, if they'll do that to him, they'll do it to me. You've got rookies wondering if the depth chart was written before camp even started. And Shedeur? The more this drags on, the more he looks like a man with one foot out the door. That's the part that's killing Browns fans the most. They can see it in his body language, the way he's still professional, still locked in, but not wasting energy pretending he's happy with the situation. He's not a hothead. He's not throwing teammates under the bus. But you get the sense he's already planning his next move. The Rams rumors? Oh, they're real. And they're not alone. There are at least half a dozen teams in the NFL right now that would take Sanders tomorrow. Some would make him the starter immediately. Others would stash him behind a veteran for a year before handing him the keys. But no matter where he went, he'd get more respect and more opportunity than he's getting in Cleveland right now. And that's where the panic sets in. Because if Sanders leaves and becomes the guy somewhere else, if he starts lighting up defenses in Los Angeles or New Orleans or wherever he lands, then this whole saga becomes another chapter in the Browns' cursed quarterback history. A history filled with names like Baker Mayfield, Colt McCoy, Brady Quinn, guys who were supposed to be the answer but never got there. The difference this time? The answer might have been in the building the whole time, and they just let him walk out. The optics alone would be brutal. Every highlight reel from his new team would be a dagger. Every touchdown pass would be a reminder, and every bad game from Gabriel would pour salt into the wound. This is why the fans aren't letting go. They've seen too much heartbreak to just sit back and trust the process. They are the process now. They're loud, they're organized, and they're using every tool they've got, from social media campaigns to in-stadium chants, to make sure the front office hears them. And here's the wild part. Even the national media is starting to side with them. You've got analysts openly saying Stefanski's job might be on the line if this season goes sideways. You got retired players calling this one of the worst cases of talent mismanagement they've ever seen. That kind of heat doesn't just disappear. So the Browns are at a fork in the road. Option 1, dig in. Keep Sanders on the bench, stick with Gabriel, and hope Gabriel suddenly morphs into the guy they thought he was. But if he doesn't, and the odds say he won't, they're looking at a mutiny from the fan base and possibly the locker room. Option 2, rip off the Band-Aid. Admit they got it wrong, give Sanders the starting job, and deal with whatever fallout comes from benching Gabriel. It would be messy in the short term, sure, but it might be the only way to salvage the season and the trust of the people who actually buy the tickets. There's no middle ground anymore. Because here's what's not going to happen. Sanders isn't going to sit quietly for the next year, taking scraps while another quarterback squanders his chance. If the Browns won't give him the keys, he'll find someone who will. And once he's gone, there's no getting him back. The Browns know it. The fans know it. And deep down, I think Shedeur knows it too. The clock's ticking in Cleveland. And if they don't make the right call soon, this city is going to watch its future walk out the door while the present crashes and burns on the field. And when that happens, no amount of coach speak will save them from the storm that's coming.